Hello guys, it's your boy Lukey here back with another video, and in today's video we are gonna be talking about Durviri Paradox. Seeing that it has been confirmed to be the next update in Warframe, which got me hyped for it. Please note this is just speculation and nothing more, but anyways, before that I gotta say huge spoilers ahead, and also I gotta put in a little 2 plugs. Can you guys please subscribe to my channel as well as follow my Twitch? Trying to hit 1000 subs on YouTube and 50 over on Twitch. Please guys, it would honestly help me out, and without further ado let's get into the video. So the first thing I want to point out is the Adult Tenno, and I think you guys should know who this Tenno is, but in case you don't know, let me show you this. Now then, as you guys can see, the Adult Tenno tried to void blast, and as we know in the story so far, there are 2 people currently that can do this, which is of course the Drifter and our operator, as well as other Tenno from the operator timeline like Rel for example. But as we know, Rel is no longer with us, and it is unclear what happened to the other Tenno besides us. But anyways, back to the theory. I think by this we can conclude that this is either Drifter or our operator, and yes, I said our operator because of this scene here. As you guys can see, we see what looks to be a flashback of a younger Tenno that looks like our operator, but as we know, our operator hasn't been to the void, so it only makes sense for this to be a younger Drifter. Now this is not to say that the Adult Tenno is our operator, because this scene can be interpreted as the Drifter coming back to Durviri and being attacked and getting a flashback of the weapon he placed in the plains of Durviri. But it can also be interpreted as our operator getting a vision of the younger Drifter planting a gun on the plains of Durviri. Either way, the reason why I brought this up is to say that the Adult Tenno could either be the Drifter or our operator, but now that I think about it, DE wouldn't aged up our operator because we already have the Drifter, who is kinda like an adult operator. But anyways, let me know what you guys think down in the comments section down below.
Now, dream of who we were and of who we have become.
Alright, so the next thing I want to bring up is these 2 Nikana swords and what they symbolize, because I've been hearing a theory that these 2 swords are Teshin swords and that we are gonna find Teshin by using these swords. And don't get me wrong, I miss Teshin as much as the next guy, but I don't think these swords are linked to him, but instead it's linked to, or more like symbolizes, the relationship between our operator and the Drifter. Let me explain. As we know, Durviri Paradox seems to be a Drifter and our operator focused expansion/story, and if we take that into consideration, it wouldn't make much sense for Teshin to be involved. Now then, I'm not saying he won't ever come back, but what I'm saying is the swords to me doesn't seems to be referencing Teshin. Instead, what I think it reference is our operator and the Drifter timelines, and I want you guys to keep this in your mind, cause for the rest of this video I'm gonna be giving you guys my theory on what I think Durviri Paradox is gonna be about. Okay, so moving on, here's my theory on who is the horseman we see in the Durviri teaser trailer. I think what we can conclude from the way this horseman looks, that it's a Dax soldier that seemed to be corrupted by the void. Also, the mechanical horse seems to be corrupted by the void as well, and both of them look similar to an void angel and the huge void worm we see earlier in the trailer. So anyways, my theory is, and I know it would sound crazy, but remember what I said earlier about the 2 timelines, which is the Drifters and our operators timelines, and that this expansion/story seems to be focused on the Drifter and our operator. Alright, my theory is that the Dax soldier is a Warframe, particularly Umbra Dax. Now, before you say anything, hear me out. Remember back in the sacrifice quest what we saw, what Ballas did to Excalibur Umbra. What if he did that to the Dax soldiers, but instead of giving them memories about tormenting them, he gave them memories about the pledging their loyalty to the Orokin Empire. And yes, I know that the Orokin Empire is no more and that Ballas is dead, but remember there is another timeline, mainly the Drifter's timeline, and it makes sense if the Drifter and the other Tenno did not leave the void, the things would play out like they did in our operator operator timeline except without our operator nor the other Tenno being there, which would mean that Margulis would still be alive. Dusk Balas would not have any reason to betray the Orokin Empire, which would mean the Sentients would lose the war like they did in our operator timeline, cause, as we know, our Warframes are strong and an army of Umbra Dax soldiers that have the same genetic makeup of our Warframes would be too much for the Sentients, and they would possibly be forced to retreat and maybe go into hiding, and with the win against the Sentients, the Orokin and their Umbra Dax army would be able to venture into the void and head to Tau. And while venturing into the void to head to Tau, they get hit by a void storm and end up in Durviri, which seems like a stretch, but as we know, the void is unpredictable, so we can't roll this factor out. So we've reached the final part of this video, the identity of the stranger, which is the name given to us by DE from the Tennocon hood that you can obtain by participating in game during Tennocon this Saturday. Now then, I got 4 theories that I want to discuss, so I'm gonna go with the least to the one I think is most likely to be the case. So theory number 4, which I think is highly unlikely, is the stranger being Balas. And the reason why I think it's not Balas is because of the events that took place during the New War, and plus I think it would be too soon to reintroduce him into the story. Okay, so moving on to theory number 3, the stranger being one of the members of the Council of 7. Now then, considering what happened to Executor Tuvel on the Zeriman, it seems highly unlikely that one of the 7 would venture into the void unless they're tasked with the same responsibilities as Executor Tuvel on board a similar ship like the Zeriman 10-0. And anyways, moving on, now we've reached the 2 theories that I think is most likely true. The first one is gonna be that the stranger is a Tenno, possibly an adult Tenno that didn't turn feral and was attacked by the children and was badly injured, which is why we see the stranger with a missing arm and the stranger wearing a mask. And number 1 is, and this one to me seems most likely to be the identity of the stranger, is its Executor Tuvel, if we consider the fact that there is very little information on what happened to him from the Zeriman accident. And it was unclear what was his fate from playing the Angels of Zeriman update, and this is why he seems to be the most likely suspect in my opinion to be the stranger. And just like with my second theory, the same thing can be applied to him, and as we know, the Orokin, especially those on the Council of 7, see themselves as gods, and I can see him being resentful on what the Tenno did to him, so he went his own way, traveling through Durviri and eventually either giving into the void, which seemed plausible. If we look at the fact though, the Dax Horseman looks corrupted and also looks like an Void Angel, which would mean that there's a greater force at play, like the Man in the Wall, or like I said earlier, with the Orokin venturing into the void with the Umbra Dax soldiers and Executor Tuvel reuniting with them to kill the Tenno for attacking and injuring a member of the Council of 7. But anyways, that's it. This is all 4 of my theories on who the stranger could be, and also we are at the end of this video, so please let me know what you think, and thank you for sticking to the end of the video. I really am grateful to you guys. Peace and stay safe.